Any game that contains swastika flags or any depiction of Adolf Hitler, any game that outlaws representation of excessive violence, sexual conduct will be surely banned. This is a top 10 list of video games that have been banned by the governments of various states in the world. Let's get started. Plague Incorporation evolved. Plague Incorporation is a unique mix of high strategy and terrifyingly realistic simulation. There you created a pathogen that has just infected patient zero. Now you must bring about the end of human history by evolving a deadly global plague whilst adapting against everything humanity can do to defend itself. This game, which challenges players to spread a deadly virus around the world, has been banned in China. Plague Incorporation has been pulled from the Chinese App Store for including illegal content. The bans come as China continues to battle the ongoing coronavirus outbreak. It was devastating for Chinese players, for the game encourages players to think and learn more about serious public health issues. Plague Incorporation has become a huge hit since it was launched 8 years ago. It now has 130 million players worldwide and soared in popularity in China amid the coronavirus outbreak, becoming the best-selling app in the country in January. Some players suggested they were downloading the game as a way to cope with fears surrounding the virus. Gal Gun Double Peace. It's a rail shooter bishoujo video game developed by Inti Creates. The player takes the role of a male student, Hodai Kudoki, who attempts to shoot his female classmates with a pheromone shot while he finds his true love girlfriend. The game was deemed objectionable and banned in New Zealand due to its sexualization of underage schoolgirls and low difficulty, making the game purely for titillation. They found the content too sexual with regard to rape and underage female students. The game takes place in a Japanese high school where students typically aged 16 to 18. It was banned because it tends to promote and support both the exploitation of children and young people and the use of coercion to compel a person to submit to sexual conduct. Also, it was originally banned in Germany because of sexual activity involving people who are or appear to be minors, although the ban was lifted in 2019. Moreover, it was banned in United Arab Emirates due to sexual themes. However, the ban did not extend to the digital versions of the games. Leisure Suit Larry, Magna Cum Laude. This is an adventure video game developed by High Voltage Software. Magna Cum Laude has a free exploration mode where Larry can walk about campus and interact with students and personnel on the premises. Reviews of the game were mixed, with some praising the game for its humor but panning it for its gameplay. Many critics also took the game to task for its sexual content and humor being too direct and obvious, citing that much of the charm of the series has been its more subtle handling of the dirty jokes and sexual situations, focusing on more double entendres than actually foul words and hints at nudity rather than full-on bare breasts. Leisure Suit Larry is based around the bumbling journeys of a suit-clad character, Larry Lavage, who takes part in extracurricular activities at college. Larry attempts to woo and have sex with or play sexualized games with a series of female characters. It has been blocked from entry into Australia for the game's sexual content, specifically the cinematic scenes that feature obscured and implied sexual activity and obscured and partial nudity involving stylized animated characters. Valkyrie Drive, Bikini. In this game, the story focuses on the artificial island, Bikini, where the A-virus-infected girls do battle over control over the virus and prolonging hope for their kin. This game features a cast of young women that confound the laws of gravity as they engage in a method of combat in which damage is represented by torn clothing. Valkyrie Drive focuses on women with the ability to transform into weapons through a surprising provocation. The Australian Classification Board explains that the reason why the game was banned is because the game promotes elements that offend standards of morality and also uses sexuality as an incentive and reward. A major factor in the refusal of classification is due to implied sexual violence in the game, especially if they pertain to incentives or rewards. Also, it was banned in China, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Iran because of sexual content and glorifying homosexuality, in Germany because of sexual activity involving people who are or appear to be children under 18 years, and in New Zealand for it tends to promote and support incest between the two lead focal sisters and the exploitation of young persons for sexual purposes. Rogue Warrior. Rogue Warrior is a first-person shooter game with tactical elements. Its goal begins as an infiltration mission to disrupt hostile missiles and evolves to prevent other potentially dangerous situations. The game takes place in 1986. The main character is Richard, Demo Dick Marcinko. In the game, Marcinko is sent on a mission into North Korea and the Soviet Union to disrupt a ballistic missile program. The game is not based on Marcinko's autobiography of the same name. In this video game, there is an excessive, frequent, and extreme use of profanity. Most of the time, hearing Marcinko screaming a lot of incoherent quotes is unintentionally funny, but there are times where it can get seriously irritating due to how repetitive and annoying his quotes get.
Fucking retard, that piece of shit.
The game was banned in Germany due to high-impact gory violence. Replay. The insanely controversial game developed by Japanese studio Illusion was released in 2006 and almost immediately kicked off a firestorm of bad emotions. If you haven't heard of it, Replay puts you in the shoes of a sexual predator and tasks you with stalking and having sex with a mother and her two daughters by force. Needless to say, this is incredibly screwed up and not cool. Replay was banned in multiple countries after release. It's illegal to sell it in Argentina, Indonesia, and New Zealand. Here in the States, it received an AO rating, which meant that most retailers would not stock it, but you can still get it online. Bully. Rockstar Games is going to show up on this list a few times, just to warn you in advance. So, what could be so awful about Bully, the company's classic 2006 tale of an English schoolboy trying to navigate the social structures of boarding school? In the US, a lawsuit was filed to block the sale of the game in Florida. In the UK, Dixon's Retail refused to stock the game at its PC World and Currys outlets, and in Brazil, anyone caught selling or even owning it would face a fine of 1,000 Brazilian reals per day. Its argument was that setting the game in a school would be potentially harmful to teenagers. In other words, it allegedly promotes bullying. Well, although the title may suggest that the game was more or less about fighting back against bullies. Yes, the protagonist pulled pranks on his fellow classmates and sometimes wasn't the kindest of souls, but throughout the story you fight back against meaner bullies and the prefects that ultimately won't beat you up. Postal 2. Many games push the envelope of bad taste, but none push quite as hard as the Postal series. The long-running sandbox titles put you in the shoes of an ordinary Joe trying to run errands only to be driven into a violent, homicidal rage, often by Gary Coleman, and their anarchic sense of humor is definitely an acquired taste. The country of New Zealand, safe to say, never acquired it. New Zealand's ban on the game cites gross, abhorrent content, urination, high-impact violence, animal cruelty, homophobia, racial and ethnic stereotypes as the reasoning. Let's be fair, all of those things are in the game. Hell, there is even a key bound to taking a piss. The penalty for owning a copy is a $1,400 fine, which could buy you many better games. 13 countries moved to ban the game. Wolfenstein series. Originally released in 1992, ID Software's Wolfenstein 3D pushed the first-person shooter genre into the mainstream. Wolfenstein 3D is a World War II shooter which takes place in Nazi Germany, complete with a mechanized Hitler final boss. It was all of this Nazi imagery, not the violence, that caused the banning of Wolfenstein 3D, as Section 86A of Germany's Criminal Code prohibits the display or distribution of symbols from unconstitutional organizations, which includes symbology associated with extremist ideologies such as Nazism and communism. Wolfenstein 3D found itself on the banned list since its release, but has finally been removed the government's naughty list. This change of heart has come thanks to the release of a parody fighting game called Bundesfighter 2 Turbo, which features a right-wing politician who transforms into a swastika as one of his special moves. After the government's hammer came down, the developers appealed the decision, and Germany's Attorney General ruled that video games qualify as art and are therefore permitted the same exceptions as other forms of artistic expression. The USK is now conducting case-by-case examinations on bans issued under Section 86A, and the ban of Wolfenstein 3D has finally been lifted. Banned because of the presence of interactive sex scenes, high-impact gory violence, and Nazi references in Saudi Arabia. Manhunt 1 and 2. We told you that you'd see Rockstar on this list more than once. The first game in the series saw government pushback in New Zealand and other nations, but the second, which amped up the gore and brutality to previously unseen levels, really got hammered. Through the eye. Manhunt 2 was refused classification in the UK, basically meaning it was too screwed up to even get a rating. Rockstar went back in and added some graphical filters to obscure the gore, and the edited version was originally released there. It was banned from sale in Germany, Ireland, New Zealand, Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, as well as South Korea, which also banned the original. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more interesting videos. Have a nice day!